man just shake and tremble. Satan is a whole dirty thief, so we mash up your plans with only one sprinkle. If you feel in pain, the blood of Jesus break every chain and remove our stain. Declare this again and again. The blood of Jesus over your family. Plead the blood over your family. This is what we pray and say in the morning. The blood of Jesus over your family. Plead the blood over your family. This is what we pray and say in the morning. When the Vicks and the bush can't fix this, the blood of Jesus remove our sickness, all asthma and all arthritis. In the name of Jesus we bind it. Jesus is the answer. The blood of Jesus beat out the cancer. Break every chain and remove our stain. Declare this again and again. The blood of Jesus over your family. Plead the blood over your family. This is what we pray and say in the morning. The blood of Jesus over your family. Plead the blood over your family. This is what we pray and say in the morning. When we plead the blood, principalities get trampled. When we plead the blood, generation curse get dismantled. So cover your children and them, your unsafe family members and them. Christ died on the cross for all of them, so start praying for them. The blood of Jesus over your family. Plead the blood over your family. This is what we pray and say in the morning. The blood of Jesus over your family. Plead the blood over your family. This is what we pray and say in the morning.
Blessings, guys, and welcome to another Sunday afternoon team family. We are glad to be back. How y'all doing? Myself and Adonna are here again, and we are glad to have you on Team Family. So, Sister Donnie, how you doing today?
I'm doing wonderful.
All right. Guys,
Yeah.
we're back. We had a wonderful discussion last week. We were talking about Let's Go Camping. Remember, we talked, even the week before that, we were talking about so many different summer activities, things that you can do with your kids, your children during the summer vacation. So last week, we brought on two guests who were talking about camping and what happens when we go camping and the fun and all the facts about camping. And today, we have a new guest in studio who we're going to introduce in just a while. But before we begin, we want to start the right way. Remember, we always start with prayer. So Sister Donnie is going to pray for us as we begin today.
Father, we thank you for your goodness. We thank you for allowing us to be able to minister in this fashion.
Yes,
we
God.
welcome your presence in the studio. We welcome your presence, oh God, in this discussion this evening. We pray for our guest that your presence will be with him, that you will give him peace and that you will guide his thoughts. We also ask that you will just preserve us at this time, and we pray for all those who are out there listening, that somehow their lives will be impacted by this
God.
discussion. And so we give you thanks, and we commit everything into your hands this afternoon, in Jesus' name.
Amen. So guys, I know that you're wondering, just in case you were not with us at the beginning to see the flyer up, maybe you might just be wondering, what are we talking about today? So as I was saying a while ago, last week we spoke about Let's Go Camping because it's one of the activities we can do for the summer vacation. Today we're talking about cooking with the kids. All right, for those of you parents out there, your children are on vacation. Or it doesn't have to be during the vacation time, but you have children, you have nieces, maybe nephews, you have younger ones that you take care of, or possibly younger ones that come to spend a little time with you. And you're wondering a lot of things about cooking. Should I cook with them? What should I cook with them? You might have a lot of questions. Feel free, all right, to share those questions with us. Share the comments. And today we have a very special guest, which I'm going to bring up on the screen right now. Some of you may know him. Some of you may not. Good afternoon. This is Andre Church. Good afternoon, Mr. Church.
Good afternoon.
All right. Good
Welcome,
afternoon.
welcome, Mr.
Welcome to
Church.
Team Family.
Thank you,
Welcome to
thank
Team
you.
Family.
All right. We're happy to have you. This is your first time on Hope as well. So welcome to Hope FM. Welcome to our studio. And we are glad to have you. This is a chef. This is a chef. He's going to tell us all about himself. So the floor is yours. Tell us a little bit about Andre Church, and he also owns a very special, wonderful company. He's going to tell us also about that organization. So tell us about yourself, Andre.
All right. Once again, good afternoon, Hope family. It's indeed a pleasure, and I thank you all very much for giving me the opportunity to be here and to discuss food and everything concerning or related to food and the family. So my culinary journey began as a teenager when I saw my sister doing CXC and practicing the SBAs and making the chocolate cakes and so forth. It started there where my interest was piqued. And with that, I would have journeyed to secondary school, did food and nutrition. I then did hospitality studies at the T.A. Marshall Community College.
Okay.
Worked at the Spice Island Beach Resort for some years. And after I went to Trinidad to further my studies in culinary management, I am the holder of a bachelor's degree in culinary management. I've worked in a couple restaurants abroad. Did some professional development courses at the Johnson and Wales University.
Okay.
I am also ServSafe certified, so I am I don't want to say an expert, but I am very knowledgeable in food when it comes to food safety and hygiene in the kitchen as well.
I don't want to interrupt you, but I see mommy saying, look my son, somebody feeling proud.
Good afternoon, Mom. Thanks for looking on.
In.
Yes. Appreciate it.
All right.
I like that.
Good support. It's wonderful when you have that support from family.
Yes.
So let me not disturb you. Go right ahead. You're telling us about your experience in the culinary arts.
Yes.
All right.
I spent approximately about 10 years abroad, Trinidad and Tobago, and then I returned to Grenada in 2020. Upon arriving, I am also a culinary lecturer at the T.A. Marshall Community College, and I am the owner and founder of Restaurant Training and Advisory Services, or shorter known as RTA Services.
Yes.
RTA was birthed in July 2020. So actually this month makes it 2 years.
Oh, wonderful. Congratulations.
Yes, the 27th of July.
Congrats.
Yes, makes it 2 years in operations.
Yes.
Our main mission and aim is to equip, advise, and train food service operators or food enthusiasts, foodies, persons. Once you love food, RTA Services is here and can assist in any form or fashion.
Wonderful.
So we do consultancy services. That's one area. The other area we do is food safety training. And one of our core, which we are known for, is the culinary workshops. We have done a series of workshops from Christmas cooking to cake making and cake decorating workshops. We recently completed, actually this week, a pastry making workshop, which was excellent and on point.
Oh gosh, making me feel jealous here. Guys,
Yes.
I can testify that these workshops are fun and you learn a lot. I've been a part of at least 2 of these workshops.
Yes.
The sip and bake, and what was there was another one.
The cake making
the
and
cake
decorating.
making and decorating.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes. Yes, so we did that, and we recently concluded our teens camp, summer camp, culinary camp, which was awesome, which was the teens enjoyed it. It was one of a difference. The parents were satisfied, and I must say, teens camp or all of the workshops we produce, persons get value for money, because one of my personal core values of RTA is to ensure quality and value is created.
Right.
When persons engage RTA services, they should feel accomplished. They should feel that I can do a little bit more in the kitchen, feel a bit more confident
Oh, yes.
in the kitchen, and even not just in the kitchen for their family and friends, but to sell. Because the
Right.
quality of the products that is produced,
Yes.
and you can sometimes I as one will say, don't take my word for it. As
Take my word for
yes,
it.
yes,
Take my word for
Yes.
it. I can attest. I feel more confident in my baking of cakes and so. Well, those of you who have tasted my cakes, you know it tastes good, and they
Great,
look
great.
good too. So
right. So we have a testimony right in studio here. Yes. So
Yes.
I encourage persons. You can always like and follow our page. We are both on Instagram and Facebook. RTA Services Grenada. You can always check us out at any point in time, and you're going to see the testimonials, the different workshops that was held, the photos, and so forth. So that's RTA in a nutshell. Is really to
Right.
create that value, and to have that buzz and be trendy when it comes to culinary. There's a lot of persons out there, they may not want to become a chef, but they want to be better in cooking.
Right.
You may see a need in your office where someone told me once, okay, I'm here in the workshop, not necessarily I want to be a chef, but by 10 o'clock persons might be hungry, and where do they go to get something to eat? And it's an opportunity. You can make a pastry, make something and come and sell. So they were there. So persons are there for different reasons.
Okay.
You have the entrepreneurs, the street food vendors who walk around with the little baskets. They come to further their skills, see how, as much as you know how to do it, but see, is there another way to do it? Is there another product I can introduce, a flavor that I can present to my customers? And I always encourage persons to be creative, be you in the kitchen.
Right.
Don't be afraid to explore new flavors. Don't be afraid to
Just do
introduce
something new.
introduce new flavors to the
Right.
market. So that and that's in terms of RTA, what we are about and so forth.
I think RTA Services is such an awesome idea. I think it is such an awesome idea because in Grenada we need more of that, where
Correct.
people can be trained, where people can, go to a workshop where they can learn more about food preparation, and not just the food preparation part of it, but as you said, I'm not
The quality.
the quality of the food,
Yes.
in terms of how you sell your food. And you gave a lot there. You gave a lot of advice there in terms of don't be afraid to use different flavors, and people need to hear these things. People need the professionals out there who can come and tell you what to do, what not to do, how to go about doing XYZ so that you can make your product a little bit more attractive, so
Yes.
that you can get more customers, so that you can be a little bit more innovative. I think this is an awesome idea, and I think your business is growing. I'm sure your business is growing because people are interested in food.
Yes.
And a lot of people are selling food, so they're gonna come for the advice and the training.
Yes.
I always
Well, it survived COVID, so
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
I have high hopes,
Oh,
and I put a
yes.
lot of work, press, and energy. I must say, in terms of some of the ideas that I get, I must say thanks to God.
Oh, yes.
Because persons who are close to me will know, some of those ideas and vision that I have for the company, I never experienced it elsewhere or saw it in a workshop. For example, the cake making workshop you attended, everyone went home with an entire cake.
Oh, yes.
I have been to cake making
Yes.
workshops and everybody gets a slice to
Right.
taste.
Right.
But for every single participant to go with an entire cake,
Oh, yes.
it's a difference.
Oh, yes.
Persons feel accomplished,
Oh,
feel
yes.
okay, yes. Because at the end of the day, I don't want to know how to make a slice of cake.
Right.
I want to know how to make. We have to get the whole cake first
Right.
before we.
Right.
So by all means,
Oh yes, it was. I have to say, it was an awesome experience, and I would not stop talking about it because I enjoyed the ambience, especially well, both of the workshops. I like the idea of the sip and bake, where you got your little
Yes.
refreshment. You can have at least a glass of wine or something to drink, and while you're baking, while the cake in the oven or the cupcakes in the oven, you have a little refreshment. It was a really wonderful experience. So I would definitely encourage everyone who is interested in baking and making their baking and their food preparation a lot better. I would always advise them to come to one of your workshops.
Thank you.
But today we want to shift things a little bit, because today we are really talking about cooking with kids. All right, it's a little possibly a little bit different in terms of when you're cooking, when it's just adults in the kitchen versus cooking with kids. So we're going to talk a little bit about that today. So parents, if you're out there and you have 1, 2, 3, 4, how many ever you have, how many kids you have, and you want to find ideas as to how do I teach my children to cook, where do I start, what should I do, we're going to get some ideas from Chef Andrew today. All right, so where do we start? Let's say, okay, I'm thinking about introducing my child to the kitchen. All right, let's say, is there, first of all, I want to ask, is there a particular age that possibly you might think is the right age to start your child off with cooking? You think there's a particular age?
There's no right or wrong answer. Most persons, not most persons, there's a lot of families out there, once they recognize there is a skill in the child, they try to hone that skill. And at the end of the thing with cooking, it's a lifelong skill, right? We eat at least 3 times a day. And once your child can communicate effectively, your child understands certain do's and don'ts, because the kitchen, as much as it's fun, it's a serious environment as well, because it's a lot of things can go wrong.
True.
And that's why we are having this discussion today, to minimize anything that can possibly go wrong and have a little bit of fun at the same time. Right. Most persons may say around age 5, 6, let's say post preschool age, you may introduce your son or daughter to the kitchen.
Yes.
And the question may be, how do you go about doing that? Right. So there are different ways you can introduce persons or your children to the kitchen. You can have them firstly look at different cooking shows. There are cooking shows for kids. There are a lot of shows out there on the mainstream media as it relates to cooking. So that's one way you can pique their interest. Another way, you can let them choose the recipes. So what you don't want to do, before I continue, is let cooking be a chore.
All right. Yeah.
So I'm making bread all the time.
Children don't like chores.
Right. So the parent may come across, I'm making bread every Saturday or so. Come and help your mother. Sorry. Or the father may say, go and help your mother in the kitchen.
Right.
You don't want to introduce it like that.
I must say, just to interrupt you for just a second there, I have to say kudos to my 5-year-old's teacher at Green Street Pre-Primary, teacher Jennifer, because it was during COVID time. She had different activities and so, because everybody was being homeschooled basically.
Yes.
And one of the activities she chose one day is, she said, we're going to bake bread. And in my mind, I said, bake bread? How are we going to do that on Zoom? How are we going to do that? I don't want my child in the kitchen trying to make bread. But after all, it turned out to be such a fun activity, both for me and for him. He's 5 years old, and there we were, and she's saying, okay, you're going to add the yeast now and do this and do that. And he's there, and he wants to put his hands in the flour, and he's having fun.
They're very active at that age.
Oh my gosh, even after that, he's always asking me, Mommy, can we make my special bread? Because he had so much fun in that, that first experience of baking that bread. And when we were done, I said, oh my gosh, your bread tastes so delicious. And And to him, he did all the work. I mean, I
Yes,
was helping
yes.
him, but in his mind,
Yes, and it's good to
he did all
compliment
the
them.
work.
Yes.
And he every time he's like, "Mommy, can we make us my special bread today?" You know, sometimes I say, "Not today, next time." But I think that was an awesome idea. You know, you introduce them, and it's an activity that she did during class, and it was such a fun activity for him
Yes.
that he wants to do it over and over again.
Right, yes. So he's inspired there.
Yes.
Yes, he's inspired.
Oh, yes.
Another reason or how to introduce your kids, help them or let them create special menus or have creative menus. So Sunday evening, come, let's make some donuts. Or even you let's say you doing bread on Saturday. You say, you let your child know, okay, come help mommy make some bread. We're going to do some donuts as well. We're going to bake a
Nice.
cake as well.
Oh, yes.
So
Solid.
they're
All up for that.
participating in the chore, but it's not really a chore, but an activity.
Right.
Right? So we have, it is difference in words. Bread is still going to be made for the family.
Yeah.
And your son or daughter is going to be assisting. And when we say kids, it depends whether it's 5, 13, 10, 8, 15, it doesn't, the rules remains the same. So you want to let them be a part of it.
Oh, yes.
Introduce them. Let's do some cookies today.
Oh, gosh, well.
So we
We
do some
know they'll be
cookies.
excited about that.
They come in the kitchen. You may lay out your ingredients, and you may say, "Okay, we're doing cookies, but we'll do some bread first," because your intention is to do bread,
Right.
but you want to introduce them into the kitchen so they can learn certain things.
Right, but they like cookies. So
They love cookies. Even with the bread,
yes.
you can give them. I remember when I was younger, when my mom is baking bread and so forth, or my
Yes.
sister, I'll get a little piece of
of
bread,
dough.
piece
Oh,
of
yes.
dough, sorry,
Yes.
to roll or to make a little
Oh,
bread,
yes, they
and I
love
know when
that.
that bread comes out from the oven, that's my bread.
Yes, they love that.
No one
Yeah.
else cannot touch
You
that
have
bread.
your
That's my bread.
Special shape.
Yes.
Special shape. Yes.
Oh, yes. After about 2 days ago, we did
Markets,
that. I
yeah.
was frying bakes and I have to give each of them
Yes,
piece of dough.
yes.
They're making all like a man, all kind of
Yes,
little thing, and
yes,
it's going
yes.
inside the pot.
Yes. And that leads me to my next point. Allow them to be creative.
Oh, yes.
So it doesn't mean the bread has to be long all the time because that's how you like it.
Right.
Right? So whether it's in the shape of a little man, a star, whatever, allow them to be creative and to
Right.
explore
Oh, yes.
because they are that age, right? And you
Oh,
want
yes.
that creativity to come out there. Let them be a part. Another thing, let them be a part of the cleanup aspect as well because that's very important.
Oh, yes.
Right, so they understand, washing up the wares,
Okay.
and all of that. Also, when you are in the kitchen with them, if you can invest in colorful utensils.
Oh, yes.
So instead of the stainless steel bowls,
Oh, gosh,
you
the
can
colored
have
ones.
different colors, containers,
Yes.
different color cups. So they seeing and they are enthused
Oh,
by the
yes.
different colors and
True.
shapes. So you're doing cookies. It's not just the round cookies, but you have the gingerbread man.
Right.
You have the star.
The
Oh,
heart.
yes.
You have the heart, and the list goes on and on.
Nice.
And you have different colors. They
Yes.
don't all have to be that stainless steel. There are
Right.
different colors you can use to introduce them to the kitchen. So these are some points in a nutshell where persons can introduce them into the kitchen without it being a chore and a hassle because they've seen mommy or daddy in the kitchen every day, gets up early in the morning, make breakfast, lunchtime, and then in the evening when they come home from school. So while they see it, you don't want them to see it as a chore when you're introducing them, but an activity.
Nice.
So they always engage and it's a fun time, mommy. And then who knows, Father's Day, birthday, Mother's Day, they want to cook for mommy,
All right.
right? Breakfast in bed,
Yes,
Yes.
things like that.
Yes.
So
Oh,
all
yes.
those things are avenues you can use to introduce them into the kitchen.
Okay,
Yeah, and
wonderful.
Yes.
now they have so much available to them. They have YouTube. They can get recipes.
They can get recipes,
And,
yes.
and they can
yes.
even have videos where they can actually see how it's
How
made.
it's
Done
yes,
step
yes.
by step.
Yeah.
Correct.
All right.
Correct.
Yes, because I often do that as well. I would go on YouTube if there's a a specific recipe I'm looking for, and they would see me looking at the video, and we go step by step so they
Yes.
can follow, and we can measure, all of
Right.
that together. We can, and I like what you said about the colorful utensils as well, because I noticed before I had the stainless steel cups and so, and nobody's saying anything about the stainless steel, but the day I bought this colorful set of spoons, it's like everybody, Mommy, what's that? And they're so attracted. It's like they want to use it. If I'm
Yes.
going to measure something, they want to. So they actually, they want to be a part of it when you make things more fun and colorful and so.
And
Yes.
attractive
And
to them.
attractive
Yes.
to them.
Yeah,
They want
kids
to be
are
a part
attracted
of
to
it.
colors.
Oh, yes.
That's why preschool will have all these
Yeah.
colorful or daycare centers, all these colors, the chairs, the tables,
Right.
the different colors. But they are learning as well. Subliminally, they are learning colors,
yes.
shapes. All those things are occurring there
Oh, yes.
in that one activity.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. So, guys, we're talking today with Chef Andre Church, and we're talking about cooking with the kids. So, if you're out there and you have questions about how should I cook with my kids, what to do, what not to do, any question at all that you might have for the chef today, feel free to post your question on Facebook. Feel free to post your question if you're logged on YouTube, or you can text us directly at Hope FM 403-1031. You can also call in. Feel free to call in. The WhatsApp number is 403-1031. I'm going to put it up on the screen in just a bit. So feel free. You can call in with your questions, with your comments for the chef. We're talking today about cooking with kids. All right. It really is an exciting, well, especially for me as a mother of young children. All right. So it really is an exciting topic for me because, sometimes the vacation comes and it doesn't, not just for the vacation, but all around you, thinking about what activities can I do with my kids to get them interested. You're thinking as a mom, you want to get your children a little bit more responsible in terms of learning things, learning to cook and so on. You're wondering, how do I introduce them to this? How do I get them to like cooking? All of that.
I really appreciate Mr.
Yes.
Church. Yeah, we have introducing them to the activity
Oh, yes.
of the
Yes.
kitchen,
Oh,
and not
yes.
necessarily to a chore. you
Yes,
know?
Oh,
yes,
yes.
correct.
Yes.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Yes.
So we have children in the kitchen, right? There are a lot of parents that, and I have to confess, I possibly, yes, let me confess, I was one of those before that, man, just move out to the kitchen and just leave me what I'm doing and just move from But it's not a good way to go. But, as parents, sometimes you tend to think in the way of, okay, they're going to spill something, they're going to make a big mess and you have to clean it up, or you're thinking in terms of, this is dangerous, they want to, Mommy, I could cut the bread, Mommy, I could, oh gosh, the knife, don't touch the knife. Can you give us a few tips as to how, you can introduce your children to the kitchen in a safe manner, some of the things that we can possibly do or say to them to ensure that, we do it in a safe way.
Okay. One of the things as the parent, the fact that you are introducing your child to the kitchen, you have to do that with a certain expectation to know that, one, things are going to move at a slower pace.
Okay.
Two, you have to keep a keen eye out for your child and the things that they are doing.
Okay.
Because the kitchen, you have water, you have electricity, you have heat, you have so much of dynamics, so much of things happening there, sharp objects.
Right.
Another thing you have to bear in mind, so I'm speaking from the parent aspect first. You have to bear in mind as a parent or the leader in the kitchen that it might be a mess at times. to be plain.
Oh, yes.
According to the item you are making. So let's say you're making cake and it might spill. It might because of the batter. Anything with flour, it may fall. You have flour all over. That's the fun in it. And once you understand that as a parent,
Right.
you can then. It will be easier for you to introduce your child into the kitchen with that expectation.
Okay.
You also want to, as much as you are in the kitchen and you want to allow the child to explore, they are not trained cooks or chefs or adults as yet.
Yes, we have to be mindful.
We have to be mindful of that.
True.
So you want to give them age-appropriate tasks.
All right.
So, for example, we may need the flour, we may make the donuts, shape it out and all of that. But when coming to the frying of the donuts, I may handle that because
Yes,
we're talking about hot oil. You want to be mindful of that.
Right.
So they need the do all the different shape of the donuts. You fry it, and then once it's out of the fryer, they can then add the little sugar, the icing sugar, the glaze on there, add the sprinkles. So they are continuously apart,
Right.
right? You want to make items that are kids friendly, in want of a better word.
Right.
So not much sharp tools might be in use. So for example, a lot of things, baking is always a good way to introduce, because you have more, either you're using the mixer or you are kneading. Very little knife use is being used also. It depends on the age of the child, of course. If you have a teenager, you may give them a little bit more responsibility.
True. Yes. True.
Right? Versus a 6-year-old, you may not want them to peel garlic at this point in time. They may put their hands, and for more reasons than one. They're using a knife, they may put their hands in their eyes. And it may burn. So you want to know what you are doing and giving. Once you see, and you as a parent will see growth,
Right.
and then be able to introduce more complex things or tasks into the kitchen. Right, so you want to be mindful of those things when introducing them into the kitchen. Electricity, when time to clean up, you unplug the mixer, you unplug whatever you're using, and then you clean up, because it's water. They may not squeeze the cloth properly.
Right.
There's electricity around. You want to avoid those possibilities, or minimize the possibilities of any, whether it's burns, electrocution, slip and fall in the kitchen.
Right.
So you train them, okay, pick up the banana skin, or let's pick up the plastic bag, you may slip and fall on it. These different things you have to be mindful. I know it may sound a lot for the parent, and as much as we want to introduce the parent, the kid to the kitchen, parents probably saying, well, that looked like a task for me, it's a chore for me. But at the end of the day, you want to ensure your child is competent, because cooking is a life skill.
Right.
We are not here speaking to train our childs to become chefs, and I'm not advocating for that.
Okay.
So whether the child is to be, you see other potential in the child, whether to be whatever career they choose or so. But cooking, when they go to college, mommy not necessarily going to be there.
Right.
You don't want them to only be rice and corned beef, or just spaghetti, or ramen, or everything open from a pack, or purchase, run to a fast food.
Oh my gosh.
For a meal every time.
No.
I mean,
every mother's nightmare.
yes. You don't.
You brought up a very valuable point there, because I'm thinking a little bit beyond what you're saying there in terms of. So I have 2 children. One is almost 9, and he would eat just about anything. All right, down to raw okras. He would eat that. He would eat anything. Anything you give him to eat, and he is all to learning and tasting new things and trying this. But then I have a 5-year-old who, Mommy, I don't want that. Mommy, I don't want this. Even if it to me is the tastiest thing ever. Mommy, no. I have a question. How do you get your children? All right, so we're talking about cooking with the kids, right? How do you get them, I don't know, with the incorporation of the cooking, and so how do you get them to eat healthy foods that are good for them? How do you get them to prepare it and actually eat it? Possibly, maybe if they prepare it, maybe they don't want to eat
Yes.
it.
So that's one of the points I have for that. Most times, if they prepare it or they feel a part of that meal, they're going to consume it
Okay.
because they see it from the raw stage to the cooked stage. Raw, it's cut up, is now cooked. I made that,
Right.
right? So you want to do that. One of the things I saw a parent did, the child did not like mangoes. And the parent was, you can't be a Caribbean child and not like mangoes.
I agree.
So we have to
I
introduce
agree.
it somehow, somewhere.
Oh, yes.
The child likes ice cream.
Oh.
So what the parent did is cut up mangoes. We'll buy some vanilla ice cream or so, a neutral flavor, and cut up mangoes and sort of soften the ice cream and add the mango chunks into the ice cream and give the child to
Awesome.
consume. And she'll put it on a cone and say, hey, ice cream day, ice cream evening, Sunday evening ice cream.
Awesome idea.
So these are things you can do to incorporate. You can put it in cereals. Children love cereals. You can introduce different fruits, whether it's bananas, the mangoes, the sapodillas, five fingers, the local pawpaw, the local fruits that we have. You introduce them to it by incorporating their foods. Once again, you introduce them. Once you introduce them to the kitchen, they will then know, okay, these are the ingredients we have. So we have mangoes today. Mommy, I don't like mangoes. But we are making pancakes. Mommy, I love pancakes. Right? So the focus is not on the mango.
Right.
The focus is on we are making pancakes.
Right.
And you incorporate the mango within there, whether it's mango chunks or so.
Nice.
And you sort of disguise it. And you let they most times they will consume it.
Right.
Put it in the cake. We're making cupcakes today. Right? We put in some five-finger chunks, just as how we put chocolate chip chunks and cherry chunks into the cake.
Awesome.
Why not add fruit
Local
chunks?
fruits, yeah.
Oh.
Local fruits into the cake.
Oh, great idea.
And with these guys, they're not studying with the icing on top and all the sprinkles. They're not studying the five finger again. And then even though it's a little bit tart or sour, the sweetness of the cake and its cake,
right.
the
Yes.
cupcake, and we make cupcake and mommy make cup.
They're eating that down like nothing.
Yes.
Especially if it's the five finger and you cut it in a nice way and you stick it on top with the frosting and the thing.
Yes.
And make it look nice, man. The whole thing going on in their mouth.
yes. They will enjoy it. Make a
yeah.
five finger upside down cake instead of the pineapple. So you can
the
be
sweet ones, yeah.
innovative in introducing, and it depends on the ingredient, of course. So you may want to do something with bread, so they may not like oats porridge, but you may add oats to the bread, so they can get the nutrients through that. And they was part of it. They pour the oats. In their mind, we are making bread,
Right.
right?
Nice.
The teenagers, it may or may not work because they have a little bit more knowledge and aware of the environment. But you want, but that's more so the point we are trying to drive home in terms of cooking with kids. Introduce them to the kitchen early.
Right.
Cucumbers and vegetables, that's a big thing. Tomatoes. You want to create salads. And salads can be very interesting, and even for the adults as well. You want to, with your salads, in addition to just the vegetables, you can add some fruits in there. So you can add some they say mangoes, you can add some five fingers, you can add some meat. So you can grill some chicken or so and add it to the salad. You may have leftovers, big chicken from today's lunch. You can add it there. You can even make things like wraps.
Right.
So you can get some wraps or some tacos in the child's mind, even for adults as well. How we think, the psychology is, I am eating a wrap. So for example, like if I have to give a personal example, I don't like cucumbers, so you wouldn't see me putting salt in a cucumber and eating it like that. I don't like cucumbers. Put it in a burger, put it in a wrap, put it in a sandwich. My mind is telling me I'm eating a sandwich, not cucumbers.
Right. That's
So-
me and tomatoes.
Yeah.
I don't like it, but I'll eat
Right.
it as sandwich.
So you want to, it's not just broccoli is good for you, so eat it,
Right.
right? You want to introduce it in different ways. You can make a casserole, a vegetable casserole. That is, you steam the vegetables and you add some cheese sauce, just as how you make macaroni
Yes.
pie and so forth. Add some cheese sauce, sprinkle some cheese on there, and you have your carrot, your vegetables, and everything there. And you bake it off. You bake it, and you let the child I'm eating vegetable pie, or so, not just the raw. Just broccoli or piece of carrot.
Even with the lasagna, you know that, well, that's one
Yeah,
of my
like it.
favorite foods, eh? You could grate all kind of thing and put in there. They know what they're eating.
Yes.
Kalaloo, yeah.
Yes.
Correct. Yeah,
Oh,
some
yes.
persons use kalaloo, do a
Yes.
kalaloo lasagna.
Oh, yes.
Different things you can do to
Cauliflower, I've known
introduce.
of persons grate cauliflower.
Yes.
You grate all your veggies and put in there, mix it up with the sauce, they know
Yes.
what they're eating.
Yes, correct. And a lot of vegetables that is good for you may not all of them has a distinct flavor, so they can
Right.
be easily disguised, as you
Right.
mentioned, grating.
Yes.
So sometimes if you don't see it, you don't study it. It doesn't affect you mentally or psychologically.
Right.
So you may want to grate it. And so I know of zucchini muffins, zucchini and carrots. There's a muffin called Morning Glory, and it has a lot nuts, apples, carrots, so much of things in there. So you can have that
Nutritious,
power-packed
right.
muffin with the kids, so that you
Right.
grate those items and you put it there. Once it's baked, and they're tasting the sweetness, the flour, they're getting a little bit of everything. So they're not just eating bananas or so.
Right.
Of course, exception to the rule if your child is allergic or
Right,
so.
right,
Of
right.
course, for medical and religious reasons, you stay away from items. But other than that, trying to introduce them to these are the things you can do in the kitchen.
Yeah.
Nice.
You know, growing up, as you talk about getting them involved in a lot of different activities while you're guiding them. I know growing up, I was the youngest girl in a lot of girls, so my job was just to grease a pan.
Very, very important job. Very, very important.
I would say so. You want the cake to burn, your job important. Well, I guess in the case of large families, everybody would have just something small to do. Everybody do a little something.
Yes.
I couldn't wait till I get old enough to do something else.
Right.
So you have to pay your dues.
Oh yes, but I like that idea of incorporating all that you can, all the nutritious stuff in
Yes,
there, as long
yes.
as they're not allergic to those things. You can try your best to incorporate them, especially as you said, the vegetables and so that don't have a distinct taste, and they would have no idea that it's in there.
Yes.
You know, it's a great idea to actually have them eat healthy things.
Correct.
Oh yes.
Correct.
And I think I really like that idea with the ice cream, because I like ice cream and I know my children like ice cream too. So that thing about it, right? Good idea.
Yes, yes.
Great idea.
Most definitely.
So guys out there, again, we are talking to Chef Andre. All right. If you have any questions for the chef, we're talking about cooking with kids. So if you have nieces and nephews, if you have children at home, if you're a parent, if you're a guardian, a mommy, a daddy, if you're an aunt or an uncle, and you know at some point in time you have children at home or children with you that you would like to teach them something about cooking. All right, you have questions, you have comments, maybe you had an experience growing up that you'd like to share with us. Feel free, you can call or you can WhatsApp us on 403-1031, or if you're listening on YouTube or on Facebook, you can share your comments or you can share your questions with us. All right.
I had one experience cooking with my daughter. We started off making cookies. It was like cherry chip with coconut.
All right.
Okay.
But it turned out to be a cupcake.
The consistency. It was.
So I don't know. Cookies is one of the things like in holiday time that you look forward to
Right.
making with children.
Correct.
And I just would like some good pointers as to how to get a really good cookie, because sometimes it just spread.
Well, it depends. Cookies have different textures, profile. So you can get a chewy cookie or a
Right.
soft cookie, which might come out more like a cake. So it depends on how it came out. Once you got that spread, that's one of the important things with cookies. It should have a spread, and it should look like a cookie, and not puffed up like a cake or
Right.
thick.
Yeah. Not,
But don't be
Rise
too
up too
alarmed if you have that soft consistency.
I find
There's-
I like the chewy, those kind of soft
Yes.
cookies. That's I don't like the
I like
crispy.
crunchy.
I don't like
I like the
crunchy. I like chewy.
Yeah, but a lot of times when you think of cookies, we think of that crunchy element in there, that crisp. But they are different. So it really depends on the recipe that you have.
Okay.
And so forth. That will determine how the cookie will come out at the end. Whether it's chewy or crunchy or crisp or soft or so. So it really depends.
All right.
Yes.
Well, I find I like the chewy ones, especially if it's chocolate chip or you have the those with the oats in it. I find I like mine just
Okay.
nice and chewy. I don't want nothing cricks.
Right. So
I guess it
versus that-
depends on the person.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you follow the recipe and it just doesn't come out.
Yeah, I understand
Yeah.
what you mean, but sometimes you just
Yeah.
created a new one.
Yes.
Somebody else might prefer your recipe than the one that
And
you are following.
Yeah.
Yeah. I understand what you mean.
and more so important, just to add in there in terms of the importance of coming to some of the classes, because baking is a science, and sometimes based on how soft the butter is or the temperature outside can affect your baked products with the same recipe. A lot of times those things can occur. How did you go about mixing? If you over mix too much, a lot of things can affect your recipe and the outcome of the item, especially when it comes to baking.
Oh yes.
Things like cookies and cakes and all those different items.
Oh yes.
Yes.
Oh yes. And I learned some of that at the workshop. So people, make sure you show up to these workshops. So what do you have any workshops coming up, Chef Andre? For adults, for children, what do you have up your sleeve? Any more workshops coming up for the rest of the year?
Most definitely. Well, as I mentioned earlier, we concluded a teens camp, which was very successful. And I was talking to a friend yesterday, actually, this weekend, and the idea came up to have a one-day workshop with parents and child and their children.
Right.
So it can be a team building. It can be in the form of a team building. It can be in the form of parent wants to just do something fun with their child, other
Nice.
than doing something recreational. So you learn a skill. You have a bonding moment there.
Right,
So I'm
nice.
thinking of doing that. I have to plan in terms of dates and times and costs and all of that. I'll have to plan it out. But I'm looking at the month of August, just before school reopens, on a Saturday evening, afternoon. You and your child comes to this workshop, and we make, whether it's cookies, we do donuts, or we do pizzas, fun items.
Right.
So you and your child work together as a team, and you make different items there. So that's one of the workshops that I may have next in line. Someone asked if we do online workshops. It is something I plan to introduce especially during COVID, I wanted to start that, but I had some little issues in terms of connectivity and the gadgets and stuff. But it's something before the year ends I want to introduce to the national or the Grenadian public and the wider region, because once it's online it can go worldwide.
That's true.
Right?
That's
So yes, in terms of plans, we do plan to introduce online workshops. Other face-to-face workshops, we will have cake making and decorating. We will do, and we're talking about 2022 here, within from now and the rest of the year. Some cooking, because I know persons, we focus a lot on pastries and baking the first half of the year, but we want to do some cooking workshops. Person want to know how to create new dishes. Usually around Christmas time we have that.
Right.
How do you properly bake a ham? How do you do a whole chicken? A lot of persons are intimidated by that, the whole chicken and the ham and so forth. How do you get the rice not hugging
soft,
together, or too
right.
soft, or
Yes.
meshing? How you get it nice and greeny. So all these
Right.
different things you're going to learn in the cooking workshops.
Right.
Lionel mentioned about sip and bake. I do have one, a slight twist. I wouldn't let out everything from the bag as yet, but I have one that's going to be very interesting. And yeah, you will hear more details about that later on. So continue to like and follow our page. We are both on Facebook and Instagram, RTA Services Grenada.
Alright.
So you can always like and go follow the page and see, you will get the updates as to the next upcoming workshops and the
Okay.
flyers and everything of that sort.
Oh gosh, you just
Yes.
tease us there, waiting to hear what it is and he letting the cat out the bag.
Yes, not just yet.
Don't worry, I follow you on Facebook, so I would know exactly when it comes up, and I would really want to be a part of it. 'Cause
Definitely.
I like upgrading skills and so on, learning, new things in the kitchen.
Yes.
Awesome. So I'm excited also about that idea of the baking with the child. You have a parent come in, and I know we were having a little chat about it before we came on the program. So parents, just all you need to do is go on Facebook and look for RTA Services. Make sure you follow so you can get some updates, because I had some questions, and I'm sure other parents would have questions too regarding things like how many children can you bring, what might be the cost. But as you said, it's still in the planning stages, so
Yes.
you might not have plenty details as to that as yet.
Yes.
But I like the idea. It's definitely a awesome
something
idea.
a bonding moment.
Yes.
Something different to do
Yes,
on a
yes.
weekend. That's the concept of the objective behind it. Something you want to do just before school reopens. To encourage the child, and that can be one of the things one can do to introduce your child to the kitchen.
But I something just came to mind. I know you
Certainly.
said parent and child, but is there an age range? Because sometimes you might have two grown adults might want to do something together in terms of, yes, you might have the mommy or the daddy up there, and then the child 5 or 8 or 9 years old, but then you might have the two adults, like the mommy and the child. They're both adults, but they want to do something.
Oh, you
That's
mean
what
like
I'm
that?
thinking. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Because at
Good
first
question.
I'm just thinking about the small child, but then I'm thinking
older
if
children,
somebody
yeah.
sees it advertised, they might think, okay, mom and daughter, father and son, let's go try something, and it could be two adults that just want to
try something.
Maybe you should have two. Maybe you should have for the adult one and then for the kids or something
Right.
that.
Even husband and wife.
Well,
Yes, even oh my gosh, that is a good idea as well. I
Yes.
would love to do that. Husband and wife. I wonder if that's the one he's planning to do.
you never know.
I want that one, husband and wife. That would be a good idea.
Yes.
Yes.
Noted.
Yes.
In terms of the brother, the mother and adult child. For example, one of our workshops this week. It had one like that. A parent and a child attended the workshop. So it's open. Generally my workshops are usually open for family, all ages. This one in particular, the concept is more parent and child in terms of when you
young
speak
child.
about child, legally speaking, we're talking about anyone under 18.
Right. Okay.
Right? So that's the concept. It's more for, as I say, a team bonding
Right.
moment. I'm not saying it doesn't have parents and other adult children who need team bonding.
Right, right.
But for that first concept, it's mainly for that one parent, that child, be it whether, let's say, if it's from age 5, age 6 to 18 or so, and you come and we have fun, we make items, and it's really to introduce them to the kitchen.
Right. Nice.
Yes. So definitely.
I like that idea. But as I say, you have to do the couples one, because that idea.
Yes, good idea.
Oh, yes.
I'll
even
definitely think of that.
Because our anniversary is coming up, and my husband and I were talking, and we saying, boy, what we gonna do, boy? And we thinking of, but this is it doesn't have to be like for an anniversary or something, but it's, couples need things that they can do together, fun things that they can do together.
Yeah, which is cooking is a good one you can do together.
Yes.
Yes, in the presence of other people,
Yes.
where we would not be quarreling and say,
Well,
why are you
hopefully-
doing that so? Don't do this so. Yes, I like that idea.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, and you learn new things
yes.
because there was a research done as relates to foods or dishes. Persons should know how to cook or know how to prepare.
Right.
Be it whether as an adult or as a child, you introduce your child to certain dishes so they know. As I said, it's not about you becoming a chef or
Right.
so, but is knowing how to, as we say locally, turn your hand and be able to do something properly and have allow it to have taste and flavor and so forth. So one of the things, some of the dishes, one of them is bread. As an individual growing up, you should be introduced to bread. As an adult, you should know how to make bread. We are social beings. We are going to enter into marriage, have our family. A lot of times, one of the requirements, persons may ask, when you now meet someone, can you cook? Right? And you don't want to be left behind because you cannot cook.
Right.
That's a red flag.
Oh, yes.
Right?
Especially in the Caribbean.
In the Caribbean, yes.
Cook ready made.
So we bread is one of the staples we eat constantly. We eat daily. So one of the things you should know how to make a bread or make a bake, fried or roast bake.
Right.
Soups is one of the other things you should. One should be able to know how to make. So, as I said, it's not about becoming a chef, but you should have certain dishes on their repertoire. Okay, I can make bread. I'm going out to college.
Right.
I can make a bread. I can make some soup, whether it's on a Saturday or on an evening when I come home.
Right.
These are things you want to learn to create.
Right.
One pot dishes. So in the Caribbean, we have our oil dung, we have our pilau, right? These things you want to be able to know how
Brong
to
dung.
create. Brong dung,
I'll try that one.
rice and split peas and some pigtails.
Okay.
These dishes, you want to be able to create those items. Casseroles, anything. When I say casserole, things like your macaroni pie, any pasta dishes, potato pie, provision pie, those things.
Right.
You should know how. Once you can create those items, you're sort of you're good to go.
Right.
Braised dishes. So that's the stew chicken, the curry chicken, the mutton, and so forth. being able to cook those dishes, breakfast items, eggs. So knowing how to scramble an egg.
Right.
Sometimes they say it's
Properly.
easy as scrambled eggs.
Right.
But I've seen some scrambled eggs and I realize it's not so easy for some persons.
Right.
Right. So these dishes, in terms of persons or persons probably home checking, okay, can I make this? Can I make this? And so forth. You want to be able to know how to make these certain dishes. And of course, there is a wide variety of dishes. Of course, one may be able to make, and a lot cooking and food has a lot to do with culture. So it will vary from culture to culture.
True. Yeah.
Right? So in Tobago, they may say you should be able to know how to do crab and dumpling. Right? Trinidad, corn soup or doubles.
Right.
So it varies from culture to culture. The different variety of food. So that's why they have that scope. So you have soup, you have braised dishes, you have breakfast items / eggs,
Nice.
one pot meals, and so forth.
Right. We have a question here from one of our viewers. They're asking about how do you include kids that are differently abled into the kitchen, especially for those with hypersensitivity like tactile skills, those differently abled,
Actually, we had someone like that in our workshop. This week gone there.
Okay.
From the indication from the parent, they said they enjoyed it.
All right.
I think the person was a bit autistic. Was autistic.
Okay.
They did enjoy it. What I tried to do is engage them. One of the things I recognized, so the participant was very good with numbers.
Okay. Awesome.
Actually, we went, and I'm not meaning to stray, we went on a bus trip, but a field trip, and we went to one of the hotels, and it had those life-size chess boards where you can actually pull up and as we reach, and we were, the children was there playing. Oh, there's 64 squares.
Oh,
And
awesome.
I'm like,
how do you know that?
whoa.
Yes.
So I recognize the using the measurements. So it really depends. Things like measurements and so
Measuring
forth,
out.
they may be good at that. You have to be somewhat. So we were with the group she were in, we had to ensure she was engaged, and there was something we did. I'm trying to remember. Right. So we allowed her to do a cake by herself. Well, it was part of the group. We didn't. It was inclusive, but she was the team lead. Took charge.
Okay.
Nice.
So each group we had assistants, and each group. So she sort of took that lead and measuring the flour and so forth. One thing is patience.
Right.
You have to be able to be patient with them, assist them as they go along.
Right.
Some persons, I remember I had, not in this session, in another session, they sometimes hands might be shaking, things like that. So you want to guide them in terms of the things they do and so forth, and make sure, and always compliment. Say, okay, great job.
All right.
You're going good. You're getting
yes.
it.
All right.
Yeah, so you have differently abled persons. I remember I met, this is not necessarily a child per se, it was an adult. And I'm not in the medical field, but they had a lot of, they were shaking, their hands were shaking. So to pour out some essence, a teaspoon of essence, and put it into the bowl. By the time it reached the bowl, it was half teaspoon.
Oh, okay.
So these are things you want to be conscious of. And one may say, yeah, but the bowl is right there. But to them, it is a lot to, even for regular adults, to pour out something and to be accurate and to pour it in. So those are things you want to be conscious and mindful of when dealing with differently abled persons.
Okay. Right. All right, so we see somebody here logging in from Italy, so welcome.
Wow.
It's good to have you on Hope
Nice.
FM Grenada. All right, whichever part of the world you're listening from, we are happy to
Yes.
have you listening to our program. This is Team Family. And Chef Andre, it has really been a pleasure. Would you believe an hour has passed? The time just goes by so quickly. It was it was a wonderful discussion today. But, if you have any last words that you'd like to leave with the listening audience, we invite you now to share your last words as we conclude our session on cooking with kids today. All right.
In terms of, in conclusion, one may ask, why would you want to introduce your kids to the kitchen? One has to remember it's a life skill you are introducing to them. They will take that on for the rest of their life, the things they learn into the kitchen. In the kitchen, you empower them to become independent and be able to do things on their own over time, of course, so they can make the bake or the bread by their on their own.
Nice.
They're likely to eat what they prepare.
Wonderful.
That's a very important factor. Once they
Yes.
feel a part of the meal that is being prepared, and it's not a chore. Remember, you want it to be an activity. Right, so know how you're introducing them to the kitchen. Cooking is a language. Cooking is maths. Cooking is science.
Right.
Right, so you have different language, different terms: saute, simmer, boil, bake, roast. Different terms. You have recipes. So you have a little bit of math going on there. Right, 1 tablespoon, 1 teaspoon, 1 pound. You have different math. So you can introduce a lot of activities. A lot of learning takes place in the kitchen. So from math to language, it's a science, knowing how much baking powder to add, how much yeast to add, how much salt, right? The temperature of the oven. All those things are part of cooking, and you want to engage your child at the early stage so they are aware, right? And it's fun. Cooking and eating is fun.
Above all.
Yeah, above all, it's fun.
Oh, yes.
It also, for some, it is a stress relief as well.
Yes.
A lot of times when I get bored, I may just go to the kitchen and prepare something, bake some a cake, a cheesecake,
Yeah.
anything. Once I have the ingredients there, so
Yeah.
it can be a stress reliever, especially during COVID time or lockdowns or so. You cook, you prepare something to engage and for the time to pass.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's my final thoughts.
All right.
Yeah, and as we are in a long vacation and some parents might be home with their children, it's a good time to really introduce your children
Yes.
Yes.
to the kitchen.
So,
you know,
yeah.
Correct.
Time,
Correct. Yes.
Oh yes, perfect time, perfect timing, perfect
Most
time. I know
definitely.
I would be doing some baking and some things with my children
Yes,
over this
yes,
vacation
yes.
time.
And we do have
They
some
love it, I
holidays
love
coming
it.
up. So you want to engage them. If they're not going to camp, you want to engage them. How do you engage them otherwise? You may not
Right.
want to necessarily go to the park during those times, but you may say, okay, let's have an activity. You buy up some groceries and say, let's make a pizza. Let's do some
Nice.
wraps. Let's do some
Yes.
cupcakes,
Yes.
muffins, donuts,
Right.
different things. And you let them be creative in the kitchen.
Nice. So, guys, it has been an inspiring, a very interesting conversation this afternoon. We hope that you learned something about cooking with kids. Thank you again, Chef Andre, for joining us. It has
My
been
pleasure.
a pleasure. And, guys, don't forget, every afternoon, every day, we have inspirational programs on Hope FM Grenada. So keep it locked to 103.1 FM. We'll see you next week on Team Family. All right. Thank you again, all of you, our listeners on Facebook and YouTube.
Okay, bye. We will not be here next week.
Oh my! How could I forget that?
And the week after.
Anniversary weekend, people. Anniversary weekend. I forget about that. Okay.
Yeah. So we see in August, God's willing.
Yes. So
It was-
we may replay another program.
Right.
All right, but we won't be here physically. It's our anniversary. We have to go out and have some fun.
Yes.
So thanks again, guys, for joining us this afternoon on Team Family. And thank you again, Chef Andre. See you guys and have a
You're
great
welcome.
afternoon. Bye.
Hey, you can't touch me. Lucifer, you can't touch me. Furthermore, take your filthy hands off me, family. The blood of Jesus over your family. Plead the blood over your family. This is what to pray and say in the morning. The blood of Jesus over your family. Plead the blood over your family. This is what to pray and say in the morning. Warfare time when you're under the blood. Them demons shake and tremble. Satan is a old dirty thief, so we mash up your blood.